if a person truly understands who he is, who she is, if they understand that they're creators and they can create any world that they imagine, wouldn't that empower them? See, I think that many people, and not all, so I don't want to put this in a complete group category, many people that end themselves in a state of misery, for example, or depression, is because they don't think there's anything better for them to experience in this life. Would you agree?
Right now, you're in what you have thought. If you want to change it, stop thinking what you have thought and think new thoughts. Because as you think, you are, you do, you have. You want a way out? There it is. You can change your mind, change your world. It's always up to you. But the problem is the same problem I suffered for many years. Lazy-mindedness, double-mindedness. That's what you need to check on. What are you talking to yourself about? Is it lovely and of good report as it is purported out? We're supposed to think on things that are lovely and of good report. Why tell you to do so if you couldn't do so? You see, he knows you can do so because he gave you choose this day. Are you choosing this day or just going along with what's going on and complaining? And complaining only gets you more to complain about because all things produce after their own kind. Don't you wish you'd get that little bit straight?
In saying that, you've basically empowered the person to think differently. Now, hear me out for those who are listening. What we're not saying is that it's easy. You've thought the way that you've thought your whole life. Now all of a sudden we're saying, think something different. We've all been there.
Well, that's a good point.
We've all been there, and we know how difficult, even for a moment, to think a better thought when you're operating from a place of depression, for example. You say, well, who can do that? Sometimes we need aids, and Lindell's talked in the past about his music, his programs that he'll watch. Sometimes we just need to step outside, especially in the environment in which we're in today, when everybody's being confined and told to stay inside. Sometimes the thing you need is the sun to beam down on you, to breathe the fresh air, do something different that will allow you to get out of that mindset, if only for a moment. Would you agree?
Yes. We just need to realize that we're on all the time, and that what we're doing when we're on all the time is being produced in our future. You're about building your future moment by moment. The only difference, if you stay focused, then it runs the length that it needs to run to be manifested. If you stop somewhere along the line, it stops too. Because you're the one who's in charge. You're the one who's in control. You have dominion. What is dominion? What is that? Dominion. In charge. Take charge. Direct what you're thinking and feeling, and you'll be directing what you'll be experiencing. It's really just that. If you just keep it that simple and remember it when you need it. See, we can all remember when we're sitting around all alone thinking about it. We can remember then, but what about the moment when it is truly necessary? Will you remember it then? You will if you'll actually do the reiteration to actually understand all the outreach of it, because you see, it's always expanding. Anytime you're in it, it's expanding. When you step away, it starts shrinking. So you have to stand your ground. You have to stand to see the victory.
And you're right. The thing is, a lot of times many of us are seeking to manifest, and I've talked to a number of people, and some of them got frustrated. The amazing thing is when I talk to them about how many other things they've manifested repeatedly, they've manifested consciously, knowing that they were manifesting, but the new obstacle comes up, whatever that thing is, and so it seems so big because they're in it at the moment. What we're challenging you to do is to remember the other times that you've manifested your desire and begin to get excited, because the thing that you desire, if you do as Lindell says, persevere, to stay on course, and even if you get off course for a moment, find yourself gathering your thoughts and refocus your attention on what it is you want to manifest. Would you agree?
That's it. What has your attention has your life. So why not think on something that's lovely and of good report, and then that has your life? You're always drawing to you what you're thinking. It's you drawing. It isn't coming to you. It's coming through you. The knocking that you hear at the door, that's your desire. Give to it. Give to your desire. Be in it, thinking from it. And that's the thing itself. And the more you think of it, the more detailed you see it in mind. That's building. It's always building. And as long as you're going to wait the time it takes, and actually that's really up to you too, the time it takes, if you're wholehearted about it, it's right now. That's the difference. We're just slow to warm up to our own ideas. We start thinking and you get carried away in other thoughts and it's gone. And I've done that 1,000 times. It took all of it just to remind me enough that I'm watching what I'm thinking, because as you think you are, that's the message. I mean, they could have written it right across front. There it is. As you think you... Look, he made it simple. He told you to choose a state, and he made it simple. Keep it simple. You'll remember it. As you think you are.
Also, as you think you are, you have, you do, you be.
You're right. That's it. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You see what happens when we get impassioned about the conversation. But it's true. As we're talking and we're talking about these truths, and I really want to make this stuff simple, and I know that Linda wants to make it even simpler than me. So we're in agreement that I think that we've overcomplicated these truths. We made it almost otherworldly. Jesus, his goal was to make it practical.
We just complicate things to insanity. Really. I mean, it's so simple. It's laid out for you. Why would a father leave his children an important message and then make it hard to figure out? That doesn't make any sense. He told you, as you think you are. And then we just go around thinking silly things and then wonder, well, what's happening? As you think you are, that's what it says. You must be contributing something. What are you contributing? Think from what you want. Don't worry about the rest of it. He tells you, look, I even feed the birds of the air, Everything gets fed. Why be upset about little incidences in your life every day? Keep the thought clear in your mind what you're going for, not what you're leaving. If what you're leaving has your thought, it'll keep you forever. So it's always up to you. Really think about what we're saying. That's all. That's all you're asked to do. Is just think about it. And if you don't see it, well, okay. But keep looking.
You were talking about him feeding the birds of the air and, of course, the lilies of the field. And it goes back to, he says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. That means right way of thinking. And all these things will be added unto you. Now, What we're not telling you to do is look outside for this proverbial kingdom. We're letting you know that the kingdom of God is within you. And whatever you give your attention to, whatever you're seeking, asking, knocking for, that's what you're going to manifest in your world of experiencing. So if you desire something different, Lindell had pointed out earlier, but he said, stay on course, stay focused. Because what happens is, Neville talked about manifestation. He says, with a chicken it could be a few weeks. With a elephant it can be much longer. With a horse it's something else. With a human baby it's 9 months. Everything has its appointed time. Now, we're in a microwave society, and we want everything now. Manifestation does not always happen now. And it reminds me of a conversation recently I was having with the grandson about Daniel. And the angel, Gabriel, told Daniel, the moment you begun to pray, your answer was being dispatched, but there was a delay. God's delay is not your denial. It's just a delay. Would you add anything to that?
No, you hit it right on. That's it. That's exactly the way it happens, or it doesn't happen. It's that simple. And let me tell you something. You can't fake it. You really can't fake it. After all, I am with you always. What are you going to fake? It really makes it hilarious, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
To actually think that they're going to get away with something, that really surprises me. That in this day and age, that people still think they can get away with stuff. It always comes back to you. There was one of those Twilight Zone things on television where these guys robbed a place of gold bricks, and what they did was they planned to be in a cave with this already all set up with the boxes for them to be in, and then that they would just sleep for the next 20 years and then wake up with all this gold, and all the people looking for them would be gone. Well, they did it, and they came out with the gold. But the thing of it was that it wasn't planned well enough for like water and stuff like that, because it was in the middle of the desert. So they had their arguments and all that stuff. But here he flagged some people down in a car, and he said, "Here, I'll give you a brick of gold for just a glass of water or just a drink." And they said, "Well, okay, but it isn't worth anything." And he says, "Oh, we can manufacture it now." How ironic. They really came up with some good ones. If people would take serious what they're hearing, analyze it, but not the dust, okay? Really feel what's being said, because that's how you get something out of something, is feeling what you're saying, feeling what you're hearing. You have to feel it, and that's what you're to do in imagination. You feel it. Put your hand upon it. Actually touch it. Feel yourself actually touching it. And you can do this. You can do this. Now's the appointed hour to start it. And all it is just thinking makes it so. Just stand your ground and see the victory.
That's the thing about so-called reality, what Lindell will often call virtual reality. A lot of stuff outside of us that we deem so important, we can't even get a glass of water with it, in the future. I've had dreams where I've had, money in my hands or whatever, and I wake from the dream, and I'm looking for the money, and it doesn't exist. This is much like most of the stuff that we think that's important. When we wake from this dream, as we all will, the things that we thought were so important, we'll find out that they really weren't relevant. And we have to begin focusing on what it is that we truly want to manifest. Most of us, what we want when we look at that new job or that new home or that new relationship, we want to be happy. More than anything else, we think that those things will make us happy.